Welcome to That Was the News That Was, Dateline, 21st of June. Although I'm recording it on the 20th. Time travel. I wish I was Doctor Who sometimes. Anyway, welcome. This has been recorded at 10:02 on Thursday the 20th. I just watched Question Time, and I must admit, and maybe it's just like I would have watched, well, I must admit, I wish I'd watched the England game. That was painful. I am a football fan, ladies and gentlemen, but I don't think I saw football. I actually made a post that England did more passes in their own half than they did in the other half. No. Unfortunately, I can't see it. We're not going to win this Euro. My prediction is, here we are, prediction time. England will go through the group stage and then get knocked out. Maybe on penalties. It's our eternal curse. But let's talk about, as you remember on Monday, I had Neil on talking about politics, and we do talk most days. And I said, I've got to listen to this. I wish I hadn't, but there were some interesting little facts that came out of it. The Question Time this evening, I had Red Davey, John Sweeney, the head of the Scottish National Party, Sir Keir Starmer, and of course, our beloved Prime Minister. Beloved for several things. I must admit, he's learning the Boris way, in my opinion. He's learning to lie very well, not being very sincere. On Tuesday, he was on the LBC asking questions, and somebody picked him up about it. He says he was asked to apologise about certain things, and he said, "I'm very sorry you feel that way, but there's no responsibility for the effect he had on other people." So I was really trying to be very nice and very political. "Oh, it's okay, mate, don't worry. It's just your feeling, not mine. I think I did right." And this evening, somebody actually spoke to him about Rwanda. I wish somebody had brought up this question. He was asked, the woman said, "This is illegal," and I says, "I'm going to protect my country." She asked him, was he going to leave the Court of Human Rights? He never answered that, but he did say that it's between some foreign court, as he termed it, and this country, and the security of this country. He'd put the security of the country first. Very nice. But she didn't ask that. As we know, Suella Braverman, my favourite MP, as you know, at one time called the Court of Human Rights the Court of Criminal Rights. Nigel Farage, who's come into our conversation a lot, has actually said that he would leave the Court of Human Rights. But in my opinion, if Farage got in, would have a dictatorship. He has stated now, this week, he knows he's not going to win. He hasn't got enough seats to win a majority. But he's thinking about the next election. I don't usually say this, because I believe you should vote the way you want to vote. Don't vote Farage. Be the biggest mistake. I've spoken already about his incredible manifesto, which he was very clever. He's not calling it a manifesto. Because we've heard manifestos, we're actually manifestoed out. He called it a contract. When you hear a contract, that's an agreement. That means, but £20,000, bringing the minimum wage up to £20,000. It's just as crazy as Looney Liz when she want to take money off tax. It's the same thing. He does say there is funding for it. And there has been some research into it. He's about, I think, 10 billion short. But that's how he's going to cut things. Well, the only way to cut is cut taxes, cut services. So don't worry. Your dustman will no longer be coming once every fortnight, maybe once every couple of months. That's a nice savings. Of course, the best way they could do is reduce the MP's salary, but they'll never do that because that's their salary. But I don't want to talk the whole session about politics, but I will start with this at the moment as it is important. We have 2 weeks to go. 2 weeks till we have to vote. I've got my polling card. I'm really looking forward to vote. I'll probably vote Labour, I think. I'm not asking you to vote Labour. The way you vote, the only person I don't want you to vote for is UK reform. Now, last week there was a poll which put one thing, which put UK reform as above the Conservatives. They were the second party behind Labour. Everybody's admitting Labour's going to win. All the polls are saying it. None of the Krauts. No, I'm sorry, I'm just going to make a joke about that. But I won't. But they have said this. So now the latest one the other day was that Labour's going about 245, Conservatives are going about 150, or maybe 115, it wavers. Then we've got Liberal Democrats. The UK Reform Party will have about 5 seats. But as the Prime Minister did say in one interview he made, there is no poll until the actual election. The other day on the radio that I discovered, which I didn't know about, is that they have polls, of course, across the country, but certain countries stopped the polls 2 weeks before. And the question is, are you convinced by a poll? Does that tell you how to vote? This is how I decide. I read manifestos. Yes, I do. I read these contracts. I do know that most of them are not going to appear, and it happens with all governments. I'm not just saying the Conservatives. And then I decide who I'm going to vote for. Last time I voted for the Green Party at the last election, and that was a vote. I know they had no chance of getting in, but I had it was my way of protesting that I didn't like either the Labour or the Conservative at the time. I noticed today in the question, now, Sir David was honest, sounded very sincere. He admits that the Liberal Dems made mistakes. I still don't understand why the Scottish National Party are always invited, because we're talking about their only interest in Scotland. And he did speak about independence for Scotland, the guy, John Sweeney. Sir Keir Starmer listened to the question, I noticed at one point, and he never came back to it, I must admit. He said, let me make notes, because the facilitator wants him to carry on, But he made notes, but maybe he's looking at that another time. Sunak never really answered questions in my mind. He kept talking about his past record, and you shouldn't have the Labour Party or taxing up. He did make a good point, which I didn't think about. Now, when Starmer's been asked about tax rise, he said, no, national insurance will go up, income tax won't go up, and VAT. But and I said, there's got to be indirect taxation that's going to be affected. Things that are there, but they're part of it. And then you mentioned VAT. Why not put VAT up? There are people in this country, unfortunately, they're very wealthy, who don't pay much tax. Actually, Sunak is one of them. It was revealed, and he's a multi-millionaire. He's slightly poorer than the king. So he's one of the richest people in this country. He only pays 20% tax. Should be paying a lot more, but he arranged it that way. Rich people usually do. I will admit, ladies and gentlemen, I think you'll agree with me. We're politics out. But there are some other subjects I want to talk about, which have been, one that wasn't in the news, but let's start with the one that was in the news. And I am confused. Maybe some of you might know the answer to this. If you have, please write to me. there was an article the other day in one of I get several news feeds. And then the BBC was talking about in Sunderland they're going to spend £11.6 million on building accommodation for people being homeless. Great, I thought, terrific. Then halfway down it says, this accommodation will be temporary. Well, I know what they mean. What they mean most of the time, and I've been on a couple of panels that discuss this, but nobody tells me why, is that once these people are in the first stage, they then will look for accommodation. The only place they're going to get accommodation is not, excuse me, is not councils, because there's no council housing. You've got limited, in certain areas of the country, limited what they call social housing. So it's going to be the private landlords. Terrific. I'm gonna win the Euro Millions tomorrow and buy myself a new place so I can make money out of these homeless people. But why? They're going to build people for temporary accommodation and then they're going to shove them out. It doesn't make sense to me. In one way it does, but in another way it's totally stupid. I'd build that accommodation and let these people live there. That's what I'd do. The final bit is something that's been covered a lot. Most of the part has been talking about National Health Service. And it's about 8 GPs. But what's happened to the dentist? There are very few NHS dentists. Children get free dental care. I don't. I haven't been to a dentist for a very long time. Number one, I'm scared. Because between you and me, I think dentists are sadists. They love inflicting pain on us. But it cost me, one of my friend's son has to have a root canal. It's going to cost him 500 quid. £500? I haven't got that. I'm thinking about people who want benefits. I talked to a couple of people who haven't been to dentists for years. They can't afford it. So why aren't there more dentists? It's like, I'm thinking, I did at one time wear glasses. I've had an operation on my eyes to make myself bionic. But before that, the amount of money and at one time you go for glasses, I got I think it was a £30 voucher towards the frames. No, lenses, frames were like up to a certain amount. I think it was 30 quid. Now you got to pay your frames, whatever the price is. Though of course I buy the cheap ones. I'm tight. But there's so much thing with the National Health Service. Dentists, I think, is the thing, because I've been to a dentist. Actually, Starmer mentioned he was in some place up north, and all these children have got bad teeth. They got their teeth out. I've got dentures in my upper part. Not in the lower part. Maybe I need them, but how can I afford to have teeth out and buy dentures? I can't afford it. It's an interesting point, isn't it? So it's a short one because I'm tired. To tell you the truth. Next Monday, the guest show returns again for the second one. And next Monday, I have Andrew McCrae come on, and we're going to talk about empty buildings. Why are they not being used to house people? I think all of us are going to say somewhere in that area there's an empty building and it's just lying there to rot. Why not use it? Very simple. I know there are things, but you're here. Very interesting discussion. Please tune in. Now, if you want to make a point about what I've just said, or maybe you'd like to come and talk about it in a guest show, or maybe you'd like to join my mailing list. Easy. Just email me at standupspeakoutuk@mail.com and I'll get back to you. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Have a very nice weekend, and I hope you tune in on Monday.